Caitlin.
Welcome to another unhinged
Oh
recording
God, it's
with
gonna be
this
unhinged. You're declaring that at the
wild
top.
bunch of weirdos.
Oh
My
well.
allergies are out of control.
All right. Well, we'll forgive
I
the
feel like I
sneezes.
have 1,001 things to do.
I feel the same
We're,
way. I feel like nothing is slowing
yeah,
down, which is probably a good
no,
thing. But it's like also like work, personal life, goals and accomplishments and things I want to do. It's just all piling up, and it's crazy.
yeah.
And I'm teaching again, which doesn't.
It's also, I am supposed to be, well, I am leaving for inbound in like 3 days. I'm ready for
At the
that,
time of this
but
recording. After this airs,
yes,
you may have already been to inbound. We'll see. I don't know
yeah,
what Zach has the schedule for
more
this
on
one
that,
for, but I doubt that
right?
it's like, well, actually, it'll have to be because you leave you leave Tuesday and there's not another
Yeah,
Thursday before then. So,
no, yep,
well, good. I
yep.
hope you have a good
So
time. This is my first year not going in 6 years. But,
I'm
well, aside
excited.
from the COVID years when they didn't have
I
it.
know, I was like, except for that one year where nobody went.
Yeah, I think it was 2 years they didn't have it. I feel like 20 and 21 both, they didn't have it.
That feels right.
Yeah. And they did it all virtual. Anyway, so that'll be good. And you'll have some HubSpot tips to bring back for people. I think we're going to do an
Yeah.
episode on that at some point. Hopefully that hasn't aired before this one. So Zach scheduled that one after. Otherwise, I'll look really stupid. So what are we doing today, though? I see we've got Megan as a
Well,
guest.
our lovely Megan is going to join us in a little bit. And actually, the cocktail is maybe like fitting for today. Fogcutter. We'll just
Oh,
get right to
is
it.
that for your brain fog? You need to cut through your brain fog?
I mean, I think it will either cut through or just make it so foggy that you don't
I
care.
think it will roll in the brain fog like significantly.
Yeah. It'll just, yeah. Semi-related. I had partly cloudy last night at my favorite local watering hole.
Wait, I feel like I've had one of those.
I don't know if it was diving elk creation or if it's, but it's like the less offensive sister to a dark and stormy. It's like dark and stormy is like super high proof, really like fucks your shit up. But the partly cloudy was delightful. We've just earned our E for the day,
You
huh?
earned our E for us. Thank you. But that's okay. We should check and see if the ones with an E do better than the ones without an E. That's a stat to look at. Maybe we should always be explicit. So yeah, I think I have had that. I think I've had that at the Diving Elk with you, actually.
Okay.
There's a group. I feel like I've had it because like the dark and stormy can get you.
It's too much.
Yeah, partly cloudy. It's just a nice light, day.
It was so lovely. Yeah.
Okay, so when you go from somewhere between, I think the dark and stormy and the partly cloudy is the Fogcutter. You got that fog rolling in before the storm.
I think it's definitely closer to a dark and stormy.
Yeah, it's probably either the precursor to it or maybe after the dark storm, the fog rolls in. I don't know. But there was a quote online that maybe only 2 to a person should be required for these. And after 2, you won't even see stuff.
Yeah, Fogcutter, hell, after 2 of these, you won't even see the stuff.
Mm-hmm. So this is the cousin to like the Mai Tai, right? So from Trader Vic's is where it's famous from. Who knows if he invented it or not, or they invented it, but they get credit from the 1940s. Yeah. They put it on a postcard, and the rest is history and a recipe.
Yeah. 2 ounces of light Puerto Rican rum, 1 ounce of brandy, a half ounce of gin, a half ounce of cream sherry as a float, which is the part that's interesting. 2 ounces of lemon juice, 1 ounce of orange juice, and half an ounce of orgeat.
Or as I like to call
shake
it,
everything.
orgeat.
What?
I like to call it.
It's not. Please don't do that.
Orgeat.
It's awful. It hurts my ears.
I know.
I don't like it.
Hurts my ears too, but it's.
Shake everything together with ice, except for the sherry. Everything but the sherry with ice. Pour. Is it a dirty pour? You just like dump it all into a glass, or are you supposed to strain the ice out? I wonder.
Well, it says add fresh ice, so that makes me think. So I generally just do a dirty pour because I don't want to waste the ice, unless I'm pouring over a craft cocktail ball, because you don't shake with those; they don't work. But you could pour over it.
Yeah. Add fresh ice and float your sherry on top.
Yeah, so I think
I
Everything But the Sherry was the original name for Everything But the Girl, the band. Um, okay, that was a really bad joke that fell really flat. So never mind. I'm just gonna go
I don't get that. Is that a band that I'm
Everything
too
But the
young
Girl.
to know about?
Hmm.
I don't know what
Yeah,
that is.
it's an '80s band. So never mind. We'll just
Huh.
move on. I'm old.
I wasn't. I was
Someone out
born
there
in the
gets
late
it and
'80s.
feels me on this one. But
Sure, sure, sure.
so yeah,
Let us know if that's you. I do also want to briefly call out that I appreciate that this recipe requests Puerto Rican rum and not Spanish rum. It's decolonized rum.
it
So,
is. So, and I assume that like Virgin Islands rum, like Caribbean rum, would be okay.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Because of course we've been to St. Thomas and there's a lot of rum there, and you can come
Yeah.
back with like 3 bottles a person or something. There's some,
Mm-hmm,
and they let you
mm-hmm.
carry it on. It's got to be sealed, but it goes in the carry-on bin. Um, so interesting. I think we have everything except I don't think we have cream sherry at home. So we've got Irish cream at home, but I don't think we have cream
Yeah.
sherry. I feel like I would like this. Um,
I. mm,
no, the gin is in there.
I'm nervous for me mostly, but
Well,
that's because I don't really like super proofy things.
yeah, I'm worried
So,
that it would be the with all the warnings that come with it, it would be like Christmas drunk, or we could revise that to be like pool party drunk. Um,
mm-hmm.
it does.
Yeah, this is a pool party.
Uh,
This is a pool party
I
cocktail.
feel like maybe it doesn't taste good enough because I mean the limoncello spritzer just it tastes like you're chewing on lemon heads, basically sweet lemon heads. But
Sunshine.
that one is dangerous. This I feel like you would actually probably want to stop at 2 because I don't think it's going to be one of those like it's not chuggable for sure. This is a sipper,
Yeah.
and this is a sip it over the course of like an hour probably.
Yeah.
So I believe
We
Zach's had
hope.
one of these. I think he had one recently when he was traveling at a tiki bar. Um,
Yeah, I had one in Indianapolis, and everything they say about it is very true. It's very strong, and I agree with sipping it because I don't think I sipped mine, and definitely regret it.
but you're
Like
also
regrets were had.
like you don't have a lot of the extra heft that one would require when drinking a
Honestly.
lot. So
Yeah, I would say one was enough for me,
mm,
honestly.
I would think so. Um, you would have to be really careful if you went to Denver. You couldn't even have one of these, I don't think. Like
Oh
drinking at
no,
altitude is a whole new ball game.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
So is when you live there and you get used to drinking at altitude because you've been there for so long, and then you go to like California and you're at sea level, you cannot get a buzz to save your life.
That is true, actually. When I went to California, like I felt like I had to like buy a lot more drinks, which was obviously like really bad on the bank account because it's
Sea
California.
level.
Yeah, they're yeah, altitude does impact you how you take your alcohol, but yeah, California is also just expensive on drinks.
Hmm.
Um, I do like that about the Midwest. The cocktails are cheaper. All right, so maybe one day Megan will make a video of a fog cutter in the office, and then we can all sample it. So we'll have to check in with that with her, talking the importance of video and social after our little dance break.
I'm ready.
And we're back as usual after a dance break. We show up again. And Megan is here. I don't know if she took her own dance break or not, but
I did.
Looked like it.
I did a
Yeah.
little.
and there's a rumor that you're
shoulder
doing some
shimmy.
behind the scenes from this episode, right? Is that going to show up on our social?
For sure. So keep a lookout. Antidote 71.
Whoop,
Yeah,
whoop.
Antidote _71 most places.
Yeah.
And we don't have a TikTok yet, do we? Wait,
No.
did you do a TikTok for us? No, I didn't create one of those.
I was like, if we do, I'm unaware.
Yeah, I don't think we do.
I think everyone else was too old
we couldn't
until
figure out the
Megan
TikTok
started.
thing.
Megan is our content posting queen.
She's one
And
of our
then she
Gen
sends up
Zers.
the flare of like, "Hi, go see our stuff." It's really actually encouraged me to be better about interacting with people in general on the internet.
I see that our own interaction with our own posts from our team has gone up since kind of Megan and Zach.
Because Megan is
doing
like,
that.
"Hey, you dorks,
True.
go say how cool we are.
Yeah, it may be that
Employee
we get
advocacy.
posts in a Slack channel that are, hey, our new reel just went up. Click this link and go give it a like. And
It's so she
you have to
makes
make
it
it
so
easy for people.
easy.
We used to do that when I was at the financial firm. When we do LinkedIn stuff, we would post for all the executives as well.
Yeah.
And every time I posted, I would actually email the reply or the comment that each of the executives should put on the post to them individually. That was part of my job. They ended up picking it up. So this was like 2011, 12, 13, kind of in there. They ended up kind of getting better at it. And then a lot of them were like, I just want to do this myself. And I'm like, oh, thank God. That's so much easier. Because I was ghostwriting for like 7 people plus doing the corporate
Lord.
stuff. And it's like, oh. But we're not here to talk about corporate LinkedIn. We're here to talk about video. So are you shooting video of the behind the scenes, or are you just doing some stills of like our cameras and stuff?
Usually, well, like I've already done some clips kind of me getting prepared, and I asked Zach as well to kind of film some of the stuff he was doing, and then afterwards, kind of the process of editing, just so we can get a complete picture. But
Okay.
I've just been doing like I always kind of do like little short snippets because I think it's a little bit like overkill if you just record the whole thing and then like speed it up or something.
Well, it's also hard. It's way harder to do that.
And then everybody's just like
I mean,
running through.
could have done Caitlin and I getting prepped, but it would have literally been like 3 minutes before we started opening the Word document and glancing at it before we started.
Like
reading.
plugging in our microphone and then going, ugh.
And me trying to figure out
It's
which
like a lot of
microphone
that.
my computer's using. That's always fun. One day we'll have to build a studio where we just go sit down and everything is set. Like we're rewatching and Just Like That, the Sex and the City sequel or whatever, and they've got the giant podcast table with the 3 microphones added, and they're all sitting like far enough apart that it doesn't echo, but they're literally in the same room and talking, and there's a sound studio and a producer. And I'm like, Zach would love to have his own little sound studio where he could produce.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
that
but
would be
then
amazing.
He'd have to be here though.
We
He'd have
would
to stop living his life.
We have a holograph of Zach, and then he can just like be with us there.
I think we have a Zach Funko Pop. We could just put that in there.
There you go.
All right, so video. So you talked about short.
Is it rude to say you have like a good Funko Pop face? Like your face would be cute on a.
No, I mean,
Are you
Is that a
saying I
weird
have a
thing?
cube-shaped head? No, I'm just kidding.
No, I just like I don't know. Like I think it's like you're you're just like joyful and expressive, and like I don't know. You have a good face.
Thank you.
That's weird.
Okay. Yeah, and I think you do have a Funko Pop that looks kind of, well, I mean, an interpretation of you, like, right? Like it had some like crazy orange hair and stuff.
Oh yeah, I was trying to figure out which one like you were talking about, because like one of them's like a Sour Patch Kid, and I was like, I hope you're not talking about that one.
No, not that one. Although your hair's buzzed now, and it doesn't look as like reddish, so it's
Yeah.
it's harder now. The Funko Pop doesn't work. All right.
I don't know. I think I just have like a basic white lady face. That's
What a
why I'm like,
tangent.
Zach has it. Yeah,
true.
here we are.
That's probably true.
You can see more of my basic white lady face on our social media.
Yeah, you'll be there.
A short form video.
So let's
And then you tell us
dive into
who's the
short
who's the
form
Funko
video.
Poppiest.
Zach, I'm going to drag us back onto topic, I promise.
Thank you.
As much as I love the tangents. So short form video, you talked about it feels easier to produce. Is it easier for people to consume? Like what's your take on short form? Megan, sorry, that's
Okay. I was like, I definitely think, and so I did some research along with the prep doc that Zach kind of gave us. But short form video, for one, with a lot of the way that people, especially younger generations, are consuming media, it's all vertical. It's all like through their phones. So short form video really capitalizes on that, and it really is like a seamless transition into that. Because I mean, if you're scrolling, like long form video kind of compresses, you don't get as much detail as you do with short form video that's vertical. It takes up the whole like surface area of your phone kind of thing. So you're really immersed into whatever is in that short form video. Also with the younger generations, our attention span is just shorter. So short form video really like capitalizes on that as well, because it's short form video first, is any video that's between like a few seconds and kind of under a minute long. That's usually like the
Okay.
general feel. A lot of people, it's like kind of, over or under. It doesn't really matter that much. But again, short attention spans, shorter videos, so people can really like digest that information and um, kind of be be more engaged than a long form video would be.
Well, it gives you don't have enough time to get bored with it and move on to something else.
Hmm.
Like you can actually digest it. So I get a lot of this on Facebook, but I know there are TikToks and Reels that are being put on Facebook by people, and that's totally fine, and I get that. The problem is when I try to interact with them, and it's like go to Instagram or go to TikTok, and it's like, oh, I can't actually like this, but whatever. But my biggest issue is when it cuts off too soon. Like I can take a 6 second video, totally great with it, but you've got to tell me the whole story in 6 seconds. I can't be left with like, what?
Mhm.
Like, where were you? What was going on? That's my biggest pet peeve. And I've seen a few like that. And they end up just looping back. And you're like, wait, you didn't finish. You're just now looped back. So
Yeah, there's a lot of TikToks that do that. Like, click, check my bio, like check my profile for part two or stuff like that.
when this wasn't even that, it was like there was no call to action to do anything else or go find it anywhere else. It just like stopped. So I think it was just bad production.
Mm.
Um, and I think it's probably hard to tell like your whole story in that short content. But if you can't tell it, don't do it.
I do
Mhm.
think there is a way to kind of do the little give the viewer a sneak peek of what you're doing. We've kind of done this in a few of our own, where it's like, here's a little sneak peek of the podcast. Now go like check out the rest. Like kind of just giving them a little bite size information. So I mean, they don't have to listen to the whole 32-minute recording of the podcast. They can just get a little bit, and if they're interested, they can go view more. Or even I've seen a lot of creators on Instagram Reels where they'll do like click like check out our my caption for more information, and they have this long
Mhm.
drawn out caption where you can read kind of more like detailed um, information about it, but the little snippet kind of helps you with the algorithm, and then also just like kind of catching that person's attention really
I mean,
quickly.
I'm okay with the check out my caption as long as they pin that comment. Like, well, well, the caption is fine. I guess I'm thinking of when people are like recipe in comments or more
Oh,
info in comments.
I also
Well,
hate
it's like I
that.
do not want to dig through there, but on
Right.
Instagram, you can pin a comment to the top.
You can pin like 3 or 4, I
Yeah. So
think.
I mean,
It's like
I
you
think if
can do,
somebody's
yeah.
pinning it, like make it easy on me. Don't
Mhm.
make it hard for me to consume your shit. We already got a
Yeah.
need for this, so I'm just throwing that out there. Um, so do you make content differently for different channels then? So your short form is mostly vertical, which plays really well on TikTok and Reels, which Facebook now like will take the vertical video and stuff. Does YouTube play okay with vertical video, or do they still put it in a big box?
So actually, YouTube, seeing the success of TikTok and Instagram Reels, now has YouTube Shorts, which I found a statistic that fucking blew my mind away. Um,
She's like,
also
we're free
adding
to
to
drop
that
F
E.
bombs. Let's go.
Yes.
So right now, YouTube Shorts has a platform average of 50 billion, yes, I said billion, daily views.
Because they're so short. It's super fast, super easy.
But like just like compared to I think of what other platforms use, especially for short form
Yeah.
content, that is outrageous. Like it is mind blowing how many users are on that platform. So YouTube Shorts is actually one of the leading kind of short form platforms now, which is kind of why the Zach and I are trying to venture into that and just kind of transfer more things onto YouTube as well.
Well, and
Mhm.
I've also been harping about YouTube for a long time. Zach will remember probably as long as he's been here.
Everything old is new again.
Mhm. Well, it's one of the best video search engines like out
Mhm.
there, and has so much content, and we've got a really good kind of content machine going for ourselves and for our clients. And so if we can get good stuff and get it out there, I think we could get a lot of good visibility.
Mhm.
It's also just old school, and so it's nice to have a good presence on there, and whatnot. So I appreciate your efforts with the YouTube channel.
Something that like I found interesting about like the YouTube Shorts and like YouTube in general is like the YouTube video ads and just how like short they are,
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
sometimes I'll see like an ad that's like a shorter version of an ad I've already seen, and it's literally just 7 seconds, and that kind of like I don't know if I like those ones as much as I like the 15-second ones. If I have to like say that I like ads, that is.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's just interesting how like short form video is like finding its way into like everything. And something else I
Mhm.
saw is that almost like short form video is making, and specifically TikTok is making like all social platforms basically the same thing, and all that content is being shared across them. So
Mhm.
that's just another thing that I definitely found interesting about like all the
Mhm.
stuff that we've been talking about.
Yeah, I noticed that you don't have to have TikTok. You can see TikTok content all over the place. Like
Well,
it's really
that and
good.
it's like my problem with social media as like a capital social capital media situation is that each platform has its own specific set of rules, and then people have started to like build a business or build a following and an income stream on these different platforms, and then you're just expected to like pivot to the next thing and
Hmm.
then the next thing and then the next thing so quickly. And so it's like of course that stuff is popping up all over because they've spent hours and hours and hours developing a content plan, and like you can't expect small businesses to not repurpose that content in a way that could be beneficial. Like it doesn't make sense not to, really. And I also think that people expect that now where like I'm not on TikTok, but they get sent to me, and I also see them on other
Hmm.
platforms without judgment, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a really good thing. It's like building your house on someone else's land, right? They make the
Uh-huh.
rules and they can come change the rules on you. So I guess Megan and Zach, like, talk to me about the strategy of obviously this is about video for social, but once you've got that video for social, we can use it other places, right? That we own potentially. Versus, I mean, we don't own our Instagram, we don't own our Facebook. We
Mhm.
kind of lease them, I guess, long term, and as long as we don't violate the rules, but they can get shut off at any point, or they could, you know, take a dive. So how do you like? What do you think about using that content elsewhere? And other places we use that content elsewhere.
So one thing that I thought of right away was as we're kind of pushing into this YouTube shorts and just like moving our content in general over to YouTube, we've been like Zach and I have been working on just kind of going through the collection that we have of content and figuring out what is applicable to this platform and what will do well. Because I mean, not everything that you're going to be making in one platform, kind of like Caitlin said, is going to be relevant to another platform. You have different user bases and different audiences, like depending on what platform. Example, TikTok. TikTok is a lot more like Gen Z, like younger generations, whereas
Mhm.
Instagram or Facebook, that their kind of real section will be for older generations or just people who aren't on TikTok, kind of thing. Um, so I think using that content, especially for small businesses, it's really useful to spread your content around to these other platforms because it's not as you're not having to create new content all the time if you can repurpose other content.
Mhm.
And I mean, you might get a few likes, a little bit of interaction on one platform, but then it pops off on another platform. Like it really is a useful thing, and I think as well as like time management and just efficiency is something that businesses should be including into their strategy because that
Mhm.
content is valuable. Like you spent time making it, you might as well try and get the most of it you can.
Yeah.
That's right. Have we tried vertical video on a landing page or a web page? I'm curious.
Not yet that
So,
I know
because
of.
as I think about it, horizontal video takes up a lot of space, right? Like it's just big and bulky, and a lot of times on a landing page, we've got like a content area and a thinner like sidebar, that type of thing, and that vertical
Mhm.
video would fit great in like a 1/3 kind of column type thing. So I appreciate the answer of not yet, Zach. So uh, I'm sure that'll show up
He's
somewhere. I
like, I'm
know.
making a note, published tomorrow.
I know you guys are making some like how-to videos and things like that, and kind of behind the scenes things, and those would be really great for those places. I also think that when you've got it like on your own property, like a web page or a landing page or whatever you've got, you have that opportunity for to not worry about it disappearing from another platform.
Mhm.
Mhm.
You've got a place where it exists, and ideally, you can tag it and get some good SEO on it and have it pop up
I've
there.
also seen like from my social channels like almost a return to that foundational marketing of like list building and blog subscription. And it's like as people kind of watched the, like have paid attention to the algorithm changes and also watched Twitter implode, they're like, I don't own any of that actual content. Like I spent years developing this like pithy, fun brand on Twitter, and now I can't spend any time there. And so it's like people are kind of returning to the foundations of internet marketing, really,
Mhm.
of like on my domain, in my email list, like I want to own your information as opposed to you being another handle on a social platform that.
Yeah, there was a big push in the early 2000s as Facebook was like shifting and changing and morphing for
Mhm.
companies to build their own like social platform or community. And everybody
Oh
found
yeah,
out it's really hard. I mean, there were
it's
more
so
like
hard.
things that like services that would pop up. I tried to do one for our neighborhood in San Diego, and it was just confusing for people, and they couldn't really
Mhm.
understand this new login. And even though it's laid out similar to Facebook, it was different and everything worked differently. And so we ended up just scrapping it and creating a Facebook group for the neighborhood because they're already there. But
Mhm.
there was that idea of like building your own community. And I think like Ellen did it, and kind of, you've got to be that big though. And she
Mhm.
had a TV platform to attract people to her community. Most companies don't have that. And just telling
Mhm.
people in your ads, like, join our community, like, no, why would I join your
Mhm.
community? So it's really interesting. Like, they really just wanted to own everything though, but you have to bring people there. It's much easier to go to where people are.
Yeah.
I think an interesting point that I actually, so I was kind of doing some LinkedIn research on how we can attract more people to our content and kind of increase engagement and all of that. And one of the points that they made was you don't want to, like, specifically for these social platforms, you don't want to just link off to your website and have people leave the platform because they're not really wanting to leave the platform right away. Like you
Mhm.
have to create content that's going to be keeping them in that platform. And if it's really interesting, then maybe they'll go. But if you're just like, hey, check out this link, and you don't really give any more
Mm.
snippets than that, then they're kind of like, it just feels like an ad.
Hmm.
Whereas if you
Mhm.
create content specifically for that platform, it's going to do a lot better because, for one, the algorithm's like, oh, okay, hey, you're not just going to link off,
Yeah.
kind of things like that. So it definitely takes a balance between, creating that community on your own, as you say, like property, so your website or
Mhm.
like email subscription, kind of like newsletter, whatever that is, but then also conforming kind of to the social gods, if you will,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
making them happy with the algorithm stuff, so then your content can continue performing and you kind of keep that audience going as well.
Mhm.
The social
No, that makes a ton of
patriarchy.
sense.
I don't think there's a social site that's owned by a woman. Twitter now has a female executive, obviously, or female CEO, um, for the moment. But yeah, interesting. Sorry, I was just going to the Barbie patriarchy thing again.
Yeah, I don't think there is a
Not one
female
of the big
owned.
ones. Interesting. Oh, gosh, there's so much to unpack. Like, video is one of those places. So here's a question. Video's hard, right? So everybody, I hear all the time, video is expensive to produce, it's hard to produce, it takes forever, I don't have time for it. But I know you guys, first of all, you have no budget, so I know that you're doing stuff on the cheap. But it looks good. So how? I mean, you have budget, you get paid, I guess. So there's some budget in there, but it's not like we're giving you, $5,000 to go hire a videographer to do stuff. So how do you do, like, and if I was a small business, how can I do affordable, like, short form video that looks good and doesn't look, like my 2-year-old shot it?
For one thing, I think, like, you don't have to have a special video camera. I mean, if you can and you do, that is awesome. But like for a lot of our content, I just use my phone. Phone cameras have evolved now where they're almost just as good, kind of to the same level as most like cameras you can go and buy. You just have to know how to use it. So there's a lot of free tutorials on like YouTube or other things like that. Also, check out our How to Improve Your Mobile Photography blog that Caitlin has done, because there's also some good tips that you can use because photography and videography go hand in hand.
Mhm.
But just using kind of the simple tools, there are a lot of ways. Like personally, when I'm shooting our own content, like toggling on that 4K 60 frames per second is just going to make your videos just a little bit crisper, and it's literally two
Mhm.
taps. Making sure that your lighting is good, like kind of locking in that lighting and the focus, so then it's a little bit better. Like there's little things like that from a like technical perspective of videography that you can kind of include. But I mean, also, it might just also help that I'm younger and I've kind of grown up with it. And like,
Mhm.
personally, I like the aesthetic look of things and I like kind of creating a smooth feel. But there's a lot of inspiration videos and other things like that that really help me when creating our own content. Like, Zach and I brainstorm a lot of the times where I'm like, oh, hey, like, I thought this would be cool. Or he would send something to me of like, we
Mhm.
should try and do this. And like, even though it doesn't really give you a step by step, like following how other people do shots or kind of getting inspiration from other people's videos is a really great way.
Mhm.
And just some, like, you don't have to be original for every video. A lot of the times the videos that perform the best are like trends and other things like that. Just kind of putting your brand spin onto it is the most important part, making it feel like authentic and um, catered to like your audience and not just like copy and paste
Yeah,
kind
I
of
think
thing.
one of the other things that you had commented on earlier is you actually shoot short snippets and then put them together.
Hmm.
You don't have to like I remember there was a trend at one point. I never did participated in it, but I could have. Maybe I did actually. I might have. But it was where like you're cooking something, and so it was like you slam an ingredient down, you chop a different ingredient, you throw everything in the pan, and then you pour it on the plate. Like, and those were your shots. And little like the sizzle sound effects when it goes into the pan and stuff. So you're
Mhm.
not like you're shooting a 30-minute Food Network show where you've got to have the camera on you all the time. You literally are doing these representative shots of the steps of your cooking to demonstrate like basically food in video instead of in photos, because who doesn't love food. um, and that was really interesting to me that you could actually take those, and they're very very quick, and your phone will put them together. Like you can do it right there, and you've got
Mhm.
this video done. I think I did it by pausing in between each one, so it was actually all one
Mm.
video, but I just paused, which just makes a hard cut. um, but yeah, so shoot little pieces and then put them together logically, and it'll probably work.
One of my favorite things, especially because like I'm kind of just like a hobbyist videographer. I think it's really interesting and it's something that I've been like continuing to try and learn about. But a lot of the times, especially with these platforms like TikTok or Instagram Reels, they have been trying to develop more user friendly video editing within the own program itself. So, I
Mhm.
mean, that is an option. I love using kind of outside sources. So, I don't use CapCut for everything, but I love the transitions that they have. It's just a lot like brings a lot more movement, a lot more interest for the viewer to watch. But then also like Adobe Premiere Pro or things like I know Adobe Express kind of has some stuff like that. I'm not the biggest fan of them at the moment, just because I think they have a lot more developing to do before they can get to something like CapCut, or like one of the in-house kind of like in-platform video
Mhm.
editors.
Mhm.
But just finding things like that, like there are a lot of free resources, and maybe that's something we could do as a blog post to like kind of share with people.
Yeah, we can share
Um,
some
Even
stuff in
just
the
like
comments, and then
let's go.
iMovie on your phone or
Yeah.
on your computer is like, and if you're an Apple user, that's free too. Like
it's
I don't
bloaty, but
some
yeah, I delete it from all
it's
my
what?
machines. It's bloaty. It's a very heavy
Bloated?
program. It's a memory hog and a space hog. But yeah,
Okay.
it comes free, so why not use it? But
Yeah,
there
it's
are
like
other ones
it's
out
for
there too,
free.
that are
Yeah.
really great.
Also, free is inspiration, just being an active user within your own social. So, like, one of the
Mhm.
things that I learned at like one of my internships was like social moderation and then just like kind of going and interacting within your own community. But a lot of the times, it's really helpful for inspiration of like, oh, that looks really cool. I could reuse that in my own social. So, I love going through, like, specifically because we kind of focus a lot of our short form video on Instagram Reels. So I love going through the Reels, like see what trends, like video trends there are, or what sounds are trending. And a lot of times you can save them, especially for like a commercial business account. It's really nice to see what the feed is pushing out towards us, because it's like, okay, what are other creators in our same kind of industry putting out? And that's just a really helpful thing that I've kind of used. Also, like an Instagram specific tip again, go into your professional dashboard and scroll down to inspiration. There you will see trending reels and audios along with similar businesses or accounts, and what content they are posting. And
Oh,
that's
that's
directly
cool.
from Instagram. So it's like they're literally giving you a free tip like, hey, use these sounds because this is what's trending.
And also, so you pointed out something there to go into your professional dashboard. So you have to convert your personal profile. If you're using a personal profile for your business, totally fine. That was the original way to do it. But you can convert it to a business profile or professional profile, and then you get all these added statistics. And
Yep.
if Instagram thinks you might be a business, there's usually a pop-up or a little line somewhere in your profile that says convert to a professional profile. But yeah, those stats are great, and I'm glad you're looking at those because I never go look at them. But I also don't manage our social, so it's okay. It's all good. Yeah, but same thing. I mean, even on Facebook, if you've got a Facebook business page, they will give you stats on what's working, what's not. You know, is video doing better than blog posts? Is video doing better than links? Generally, links don't do that well. Sometimes plain text does better than links. But yeah, cool. Anything else we desperately
The
need to
moral
know?
of this story is get yourself a Megan and a Zach. Step 1. But you can't have ours.
And then keep them happy.
Yeah.
By having a wonderful culture and free coffee and booze.
Pump them full of tacos. Give
Oh,
them a day
tacos.
off. That's great.
So yeah, before we wrap up, is there anything else that you want people to know, like when they're thinking about video for social? Any like fast tip or anything like that?
I feel like in general, just have fun with it. Like it doesn't have to be something super serious, because I feel like in the way that consumers are kind of engaging and interacting with this short form video, it's more shareable content. Like if it's fun and interactive and it speaks to them, that's what's gonna last. If like it doesn't have to be great video quality. I mean, you don't want it to be like grainy or something, but it doesn't have to be like the best thing ever for it to still relate to somebody. And like just try your best, and you can only go up from there, I think. Also, while producing short form video content is definitely something that you should be including in your your social media strategy, photos and static text aren't going away. Like Instagram especially, their algorithm is trying to balance pushing photos and Instagram reels, so static content is still valuable to include in your social strategy. And videos, they can be hard to keep up with for consistent posting, so just find a balance. In general, consistent posting is like the main target you want to do, so just find a balance between the two. Again, just have fun with it, and good luck taking videos.
Good luck and Godspeed.
Yeah,
Exactly.
so have fun. Don't try too hard. Research what other people are doing and what you're seeing in your feed, and that's probably stuff that you could be doing. And I think the biggest one there was the have fun, have fun, have fun. Like videos should
Yeah.
be really fun, and you
I was
should
gonna say,
remembering-
ask anyone on our team. I'm always like, hey, so like I have a video, and they're like, oh, what is it this time?
We all
Some of us don't like
skipped one
being on
day. That was fun.
That did really well, though. People loved that.
People did enjoy seeing us skip.
Oh,
It was
skipping,
a
like legit,
challenge.
right? Because
Yeah.
adults don't remember how to skip. I remember that challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, like we do day in the lives, but it's like it's a fun little promo of our own kind of company culture, and like what we do gives people a glimpse into, we're not a big scary marketing agency. We're people who like to have a
Our
good time drinking
specific brand
coffee
of
or a
weird.
cocktail.
Shows off our personalities really well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Everybody's
So, like-
weird in their own way.
We're just having fun, and people enjoy seeing that.
Well, cool. Thank you so much for joining us, Megan. It was great. And Zach, I know you were sort of part guest, part producer on this one, so definitely appreciate all the work you guys are doing.
Yeah.
And we'll watch for that blog post on video editing software tips. That'll be a really good one with some great outbound links that we can include for SEO.
Yeah. We're drinking the Kool-Aid, y'all.
All right, bye.
Bye.
And that's a wrap for another episode of Cocktails, Tangents, and Answers.
We hope you had as much fun as we did.
So if you'd like to connect and have more fun, you can find me on social media at Rich Mackey. It's just my name, super simple and easy. And you can find our agency at Antidote_71. That's ANTIDOTE_7, 1, across all social platforms as well.
As for me, catch me at home sipping a craft cocktail, expertly prepared by my in-home bartender, who happens to be my husband.
Stay tuned because we'll be back with another episode every other week featuring a brand new cocktail recipe, more tangents, and of course, we'll do our best to answer all your burning marketing questions.
And if you have a question you'd like to send our way, head to ctapodcast.live to shoot us an email.
Or even better, leave us a voice message. Remember those, Caitlin? On our hotline at 402-718-9971. Your question might make it into a future episode.
For now, make sure to like, subscribe, and join us again next time for more fun and insightful discussions. Thanks for tuning in. Cheers!